All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mama Melly, the manager, episode 2. How exciting. Still nerve-wracking, not gonna lie. Um, but I'm so thankful for everyone's feedback, everyone's support. I mean, I did this with the desire to give back in efforts for people who might be struggling going through the same things that I am or I have in the past, for them to hear ways to get through it, at least through my examples. And I think allowing people to get to know me a little better, whether it's professionally or personally. I think I have some close friends. I have some really amazing close friends. One who just told me that she's engaged, super pumped for her. I will not say her name, just it's not my place. But um, all of that to say, thank you. The outpouring of support after I posted my first episode was something I could never imagine, and it truly filled my heart. And I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for some amazing, you know, friends back home, friends from college, people that I've met through work that just all cheered me on. And I think that's the type of support that we need to give each other more and do more, especially in today's world. So I think before being able to go into the episode, I do need to touch on the really tragic, unnecessary event that happened in Texas earlier this week, the shooting of elementary children. I have a lot I want to say, but a lot of it is personal opinion, political, amongst many other things. And so this is not the right place for it, so I won't. But what I do want to say is that we need change. And again, best friend brought up just a great point. We're supposed to be the best country in the world. We're supposed to be so technologically advanced. And this still happens and continues to happen. And I used to get really angry before becoming a mom when shootings like this happen. And now there's anger. Don't get me wrong. I am pissed. But I think it's also now more fear and concern since having Manny, because like I send Manny to school because we need help, and B, because it's what we as parents like think is what's best for him. And to think that like just one day, and not even at schools anymore, a supermarket, a movie theater, a church, right? Like anything can happen. And it's just, why should we live in fear? And we need to figure out the right rules around gun ownership, period. So I'll leave it at that. I can't even imagine what the families are going through, what the town's going through. So many things. And Wednesday was hard. I couldn't, I worked, but also I just couldn't go through like a call without thinking about what was happening. And so mentally, I was done. I was emotionally a wreck. There's just a lot going on. I was burnt out and tired. And it's like, I guess, a first world problem that I can complain and say, I'm going to not take calls for the rest of the afternoon because I just mentally do not have the space for it. And I have a really amazing team. I literally just slacked them and said, hey, like, after coming back from Mexico sick and things that are happening right now and all of the work, I am mentally not okay, and I need to take the rest of this afternoon. If you really need me, send me a WhatsApp, but like, I just can't do it. And they're all super supportive, and like, yeah, I'm just so grateful for each and every one of you on my team. You're amazing. Okay, shake all of that off. I think we really need to get into the actual episode. And so the title of this episode is, Does Manny Know I'm Brown? It's kind of a long title, but it's the best way to capture what I'm trying to get across. So it was Monday, I was giving Manny a bath. And again, I have a really privileged life. It's not the most fancy, but it is privileged. So I say that because, 3 weeks ago, I was in Miami for work, made it a long weekend, got an Airbnb in Hollywood. Clay and Manny flew down, so we spent some time by the pool. And then the following week, I went to Mexico for work. And that gets me to this most recent Monday when I was giving Manny a bath, and I was rinsing off the towel, the little washcloth we use to wash him. And my arm was like against Manny's leg. And that's when I realized, holy crap, to avoid saying a swear word, holy crap, I'm so much darker than my son. And obviously, like, he's living his best life, splashing, like playing whatever in the bathtub, and I'm over here having like these like life revelations, these thoughts, these flashbacks. And like before then, I didn't know what I wanted to talk about, or I had too many topics that I wanted to speak about but just didn't know. And then that happened, and I was like, that's what I'm going to talk about. Manny is 25%. I mean, if we're going to be like high level, 25% Mexican. I'm half Mexican. My father's full Mexican. So Manny, even though he is 25% and I am tanner / brown skinned because my father's Oaxaqueño, which means he's from the state of Oaxaca. And normally people from that state are darker. I'm sure there's a lot more that I can go into why and studies that have done and so on, but we'll leave it at that. And so Manny is very not tan. He is white. My husband, white, blue-eyed, blonde, from Alabama. And Manny is his twin, except for this part. And sorry, I'm forget that this is going on a podcast, so not everybody can see me, but I'm pretty much like the eye and upper cheekbone area. Like Manny has that for me. He gets really squinty-eyed when he smiles in pictures, really big high cheekbones, which cause him to have rounder cheeks, just great, so chunky. But the rest is Clay. And so I'm thinking, like, does my son recognize that I am a completely different skin tone than he is? Now, granted, when he is in the sun enough, we put sunscreen on as best as we can, because to be honest, I forget quite often because it's not something I remember doing as a kid. And of course, as a teenager and in college, I put on things to actually burn, because who doesn't want to be more tan? But Manny does actually tan a little. So he's got that going for him. And he does have some of my skin tone in him, but just not normally. And I think something we joke around a lot about when Manny was first born was that if I take him to school, people would think I'm the nanny. It's a really bad stereotype. But especially thought about after having this revelation at 7:10 p.m. while giving my son a bath. So I remember back to the moment I commented in my first episode where, it was elementary school. I'm outside, it's recess, and I look over to like this little soccer field area we have, and I see all of most, I can't remember exactly, um, like the Hispanic guys from my class hanging out, playing soccer separate. And that's when I was like, oh, the difference between friends groups and cliques isn't necessarily like who gets along and who doesn't. It can go deeper than that. And since that moment in elementary school, I don't think so much in middle school. I was still pretty much hanging out with like everyone. But it was when I was going into high school and I recognized more of the, I'm using segregation, but that's a really, I guess, dramatic term, but the separation between the Latinx, the Hispanic population, and the rest of the population. And there weren't a lot of others. I grew up with a few African American slash Black students. I mean, Aisha, just a close friend of mine growing up in high school. Um, but in high school, seeing that separation caused some type of, I guess, identity crisis within me. And that's really when I started having multiple different, not lives to say, but yeah, I knew when, post basketball games, when I was the jock Melissa, to go hang out with my Hispanic friends and just like shoot the shit, excuse the language. Uh, and then like, at a different time, be going to quinceañeras, or then the next day I'm waking up early to go play sports. Or I figured out a way to navigate who I was in my friend groups, based on what identity I was trying to like match with. Um, but at that time, I really wanted to reclaim and prove that I was Mexican. I did a lot of the things that I guess the other Mexican or Hispanic students didn't do. Um, and I was in AP classes and I tested out early to get credits for college. And like, I just felt like I was living a double life. And I can't say I do now, but it's definitely something that is still top of mind at times. And whether it's a fear or the lingering trauma from back then, but that identity search was definitely something that hit me hard. I had my quinceañera in Oaxaca and in my dad's little town, and I started doing things more so I could be looked at as Mexican. I went to quinceañeras. I learned how to dance. You know, I tried to speak Spanish as much as I could, even though we weren't taught Spanish growing up, which is another thing. My parents are amazing. We did not have a perfect upbringing in my eyes, but I feel like generation and generation, you go learning things and then you like parent your children either in similar ways or different ways than yours. But my parents are great. And we didn't grow up speaking Spanish. My parents spoke Spanish to each other. My mom, very white, blue eyes, brown hair, but speaks Spanish like a native Mexican. It's amazing. And it really catches people off guard. That's the funnest, when you can see that someone's trying to talk about my mom, thinking she doesn't know, but she knows. My mom understands Spanish very, very well. But I'm saying all that because I got really mad at my father one day when we were driving to Mexico. Yes, we would drive from Wisconsin to Oaxaca. And we were already in Mexico at some point. And I just remember being angry. I was very angry teenager. I was like, Dad, why wouldn't you teach us Spanish? Like, I could have done so many things if you taught me, blah, blah, blah. And like the calm that my dad has said, I didn't want you to be treated differently. I came here as an immigrant and had to suffer through a lot of things. And we didn't want you to have to be looked at differently. And so we raised you, sorry. um, we raised you speaking only English. Because if you spoke Spanish, imagine what people might think. And at that moment, I was like, oh, I'm terrible for getting so angry at my father, who's done nothing but try to give me the best life. And B, what a freaking concept. And how many others here in the US that were first generation, because I'm first generation on my father's side, were not able to embrace fully their culture out of their parents' fear that they would be discriminated against. Like, that is so poopy. That really, really sucks. I'm grateful that I still had the opportunity through high school, through going back and seeing family in Mexico, to pick up Spanish. I'm grateful to have gone to Miami, Florida for college, where a lot of people speak Spanish. And now I work for the Latina region, so I can continue to practice my Spanish, but it definitely wasn't perfect. But I have absolute no resentment towards my father now that I fully understand. But it's wild because now all I want to do is teach Manny Spanish. And I think in this case, I want him to be different. Obviously, not in like I want him to be so different. People pick on him. I've already decided if I ever catch anyone picking on Manny or bullying him, I might have to fight someone, not the child, maybe the parents. I shouldn't say that, but again, this is just me. But my hope is truly that Manny recognizes that he has Latin or Hispanic culture in him. He has blood in him. Now, it is only 25%, but it's still there. And by raising Manny with Spanish terms, around Spanish culture, hopefully, or Mexican culture, what have, I want him to have the opportunity to know it. And then if he decides, hey, look, like, I just don't identify as it. Okay, will that break my heart? Probably, but also the deep desire to identify as Latinx is my trauma, is with me. And I think I've gotten a lot better at it. I do think that being a part of Latinx ERGs has helped, working in the Latam region. But I know it's something that I'm not 100% comfortable with yet. And I don't know if I ever will be. And that's okay. Like, that's no one's fault. It's just, I don't know, it's really eye-opening and interesting. And hopefully this whole discussion is causing curiosity within each of you. But back to Manny. So I'm really grateful. Clay does not speak Spanish, but he does know enough to understand when we go to Mexico. He's been with me twice now. But he'll say words to Manny all the time. You know, we say agua. Manny's first word, agua, or might have been ball, and then agua second. But you know what he does at school? He teaches kids the word agua, and kids who have no Latinx in them are saying agua. And that to me is so freaking beautiful and makes me so proud. And I want there to be more of that. I'm grateful that the school that we send Manny to teaches them Spanish, and on like the door or when on their different boards that have colors, they have the word in English and in Spanish. I'm so grateful for that because I'm nothing but proud, and Clay is too. My husband is very supportive and understanding that I want Manny to be around what I view as my culture. For example, in the mornings, if Manny wants to dance, we'll put on like banda or duranguense or quebradita, like legit Mexican music, and we'll dance. And he recognizes the songs when they come on. And again, for me, those moments are beautiful. And I just want Manny to know that even though his skin doesn't match mine, his heart does, and his culture does. And he can speak that language if he wants to. And I hope that one day when he understands what this all means, he says, no, I'm Mexican American. Oh, if he says that, when he says that, I will probably cry. I'm about to cry right now. um, I just think that's so special. And I'm so grateful I have that culture. I'm so grateful now that I've been able to explore more of my culture. I'm so proud to tell people that I'm Mexican American. My dad's from Oaxaca. Like that all comes out in a run-on sentence. But yeah, I think being mixed, and of course I use that term like lightly because I think it means different things for different people, but is something that I so proud of, so grateful for. And the best I can do for Manny is pass that along. And hopefully, who knows who he'll end up with one day, but maybe he'll continue to pass it down, even though his kids might not have any of the blood in them. The Mexican blood, they'll obviously have blood. It's late, kind of. But so that's where the title, Does Manny Know I'm Brown from? And I'm curious after sharing this podcast of how others see it, think about it, if they've dealt with it. Because it's definitely interesting. It's something that I want to try to understand more for myself through therapy, and just continue to share ideas, pictures, memories with Manny as he gets older, hoping that he can embrace it. And then also, I think I'm looking forward to the day that he asks why I'm brown and he's not. I meant maybe he won't. That's also something interesting. Parenting, it's a crazy thing. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's coming next. Those who are parents out there understand. But anyways, thank you all so much. I think it's been a great month. It's been busy, but I'm excited that I got this done in time. I'll be posting it on not the last Monday, because this last Monday is Memorial Day, which in the US is a holiday. So for better, I don't know, chances of being seen, I'll post it Tuesday, maybe. I don't really know. But thank you all. I hope this topic caused interest or sparked some conversations. If anyone is also still struggling with their identity in whatever terms and you want to talk about it, let me know. Yeah. So thank you for coming to another episode of Mama Mel, the manager. And this is a proud Mexican American saying goodbye, and have a wonderful day, night, week, month, what have you.